What's up, movie lovers? I'm Mike, and this is Gotta Love Them Movies. You guys, welcome back to Gotta Love Them Movies, your daily dose of movie news. I'm your host, Mr. Mike Brown. I'm here all the time. And you guys, thanks so much for joining on this beautiful Wednesday afternoon, at least on the East Coast anyway. If you're watching the show at all yesterday, you would know that I was having some passport issues. I was kind of freaking out a little bit, come to find out that COVID has really messed up the passport process. Well, I'm happy to report that I have the sexiest passport photo ever taken. Take a look at this. So I had to go up to CVS, up to the drugstore, get my passport photo taken, and boy, oh boy, this is, wow, what a sexy dude right over there, right there, sexy dude, me. It was just, I don't know, it was one of those days, wind was blowing, everything, like, I just didn't feel great. Hey, turned out to be a great photo, so hey, I'm all for it. But enough about me and my passport photos. You guys, next week, Kim and I will be embarking on a road trip of epic proportions. Of course, I am referring to our road trip down Route 66. It's something that we've talked about doing for such a long time. And, I have vacation this month. She was able to get some time off next week. So we're going to bite the bullet. We're going to do it. We're going to fly out to Tulsa. Rent a car and drive from Tulsa out to Albuquerque and back, all on Route 66. Something, like I said, we've always wanted to do. So, guys, if you have any suggestions, I'm actually really curious. Do you guys have any suggestions for any types of videos that we can produce or to put out during our road trip on Route 66? Of course, we'd like to keep it like some kind of like movie related. I was thinking about stopping and asking some of the locals, see what some of their favorite movies are. But if there's anything that we can kind of produce on the road, of course, I'm not going to be here in my studio, so we can't do like a normal regular show the way that we usually do. But if you have any ideas for any kind of movie related content that we can produce while we're on the road next week, I would be all for it. Send me an email at, I should have had this ready. Just send me an email at gottalovethenmovies@gmail.com and let me know what kinds of, segments that you think would be kind of interesting for us to produce while we're on the road on Route 66. All right, guys, if you haven't already done so, please head over to youtube.com, type in Gotta Love Them Movies. You're going to see a red rectangle in the top right-hand corner of the screen that says subscribe. Go ahead and click on that button. What clicking on that button does is it helps us to widen our subscriber base, and with the more subscribers the channel gets, the more watched content the channel gets, and with the more watched content the channel gets, I get to make this show my full-time job, so I very much appreciate that. Of course, as soon as we hit 1,000 subscribers, the live portion of the show will move from Facebook to YouTube. So just something to be aware of on the horizon. And of course, like I said before, and not just specifically related to Route 66, but if you have any other movie-related questions, fan theories, if there's anything you're unsure about, send me an email at gottalovethenmovies@gmail.com. As long as it's family-friendly, we'll make your comment or question a main topic on the show. We will address it here on the show. So, yeah, I'd love to hear from you guys. Send me an email. All right, you guys, now with all that down and out of the way, it is time to go and take a little bit of movie news.
What? What?
All right, you guys. So yeah, let's jump in and take a little bit of movie news. There's a whole bunch of stuff like happening in the cultural zeitgeist right now. Yesterday, on the show, we talked about how, the movie poster for Cruella had just come out announcing that they were going to drop a trailer today. Well, guess what? They dropped the trailer today, and it looks kind of fun, looks kind of interesting. It kind of stays at least the trailer itself, it looks like they're going to stay true to the idea that she is a villain. It does not appear that they are going to be telling a story of, oh, well, Cruella, she's just misunderstood. It was the classic storytelling device used in the Broadway, award-winning Broadway musical Wicked. It was also done with Maleficent, starring Angelina Jolie. So that's kind of where we're a little hesitant going into this with. But now that the trailer's dropped, it really does appear that they're leaning into her villainous side, which begs the question, how is this movie going to end? Because you want your main protagonist to be a likable character, and of course Cruella by her very nature is not likable. She murders puppies so that she can have a better wardrobe, in essence. But as we watch the trailer, it really kind of breaks it down where she's it's in 1970. Actually, let's jump in here to this article in Collider for a second. I want to jump down to the official synopsis of the movie. Academy Award winner Emma Stone stars in Disney's Cruella, an all-new live-action feature film about the rebellious early days of one of cinema's most notorious and notoriously fashionable villains, the legendary Cruella de Vil. Cruella is set in the 1970s London amidst the punk rock revolution, and follows a young grifter named Estella, a clever and creative girl determined to make a name for herself with her designs. She befriends a pair of young thieves who appreciate her appetite for mischief, and together they're able to build a life for themselves on the London streets. One day, Estella's flair for fashion catches the eye of Baroness von Hellman, a fashion legend who is devastatingly chic and terrifyingly hot, played by two-time Oscar winner Emma Thompson. But their relationship sets in motion a course of events and revelations that will cause Estella to embrace her wicked side and become the raucous, fashionable, and ravage-bent Cruella. This Cruella movie, I'm at least based on the trailer, I find it interesting. I liked the trailer. I thought it was a good trailer. It didn't quite have the edge that I thought it was going to. Like, if you go back and look at the movie poster, do I have a picture of the movie poster? Let's see what pops up when I do this. Nope. Let's see what pops up if you know what? I'm not going to waste time on it. How about this? There we go. So there's the movie poster there. Look at the movie poster. It seems to have kind of like this 90s anarchy kind of like raw grit to it. And that's what I thought we were going to be getting a little bit more with this movie, or at least with the trailer. Of course, it's Disney. Like, everything's going to be polished. Everything's going to be a little magical and whimsical. So I guess that's to be expected. And of course, the synopsis sets it in 1970s as opposed to the 1990s, which is going to have like this, like the early punk rock revolution days, especially in London. So maybe it is still going to have a little bit of an edge and maybe a little bit of grit to it. The trailer does make it look a little bit more polished than I thought it was going to be. I don't know. Maybe it's just I want Disney to embrace like the dark side of this, and maybe they will. Like, the film has yet to come out. It's just the music and the look of it so far. I'm not going to say I was disappointed by it, because it does lean into that. I keep going back to the anarchist symbol. I mean, it's right there in the movie poster where the A in Emma Stone's name definitely has that kind of like anarchist's symbol a little bit. So I don't know. I'm looking forward to seeing it. I'm definitely gonna go see it. I hope Governor Cuomo opens up movie theaters in New York City by the time that this opens up. Hey, even before that, I would love to see a whole bunch of movies in theaters here in New York. Go back to the regular routine. Anyway, big question for you guys is, what did you think of the trailer? Did it live up to your expectations? Were you let down at all? Did you like the polished nature of it? Do you like that it seems that they're kind of leaning into the villainous nature of Cruella de Vil as opposed to just, oh, she's a misunderstood character? I like that, but what do you think of it? Jump on down to the comment section below and let me know your thoughts. All right, guys, our next bit of movie news today. Last October, we kind of talked about a story or an article or about Matrix 4, right? One of the stars of the movie, and I can't quite think of her name off the top of my head. One of the actors in the movie, back in October, was kind of saying that how Lana Wachowski has developed a brand new filming style, a brand new filming method, and it's going to kind of revolutionize the industry again, the same way of how the first Matrix kind of revolutionized filming and filmmaking and the way that we approach visual storytelling. Well, now in an interview with Neil Patrick Harris, first of all, hang on a second, Neil Patrick Harris is in Matrix 4? I had no idea. I'm also not one of those people that, like, I don't scroll through IMDb every single day to see what all the new casting announcements are. Like, okay, cool. Like, he's in the movie. I didn't know that. So, cool. Awesome. Good for him. But he also says in this article from Variety of how this particular shoot feels very intimate, very different from the other Matrix films. Not that he was in the other Matrix films, but let's jump into this article from Variety. And this is what Neil Patrick Harris had to say about being on set. He says, it didn't feel large because it felt like she was in her sweet spot. She, referring to Lana Wachowski, the writer and director, which was filming on the fly, filming using natural light. He goes on to say, sometimes you'd sit around for an hour waiting for the clouds to clear, and then you'd quickly film. You'd film pages at a time in 30 minutes and then be done. He adds, you would think that a giant movie would be 100% storyboarded, animatic, and we'd be checking off shots. I think she lived that before 3 times over, with Matrix 1, 2, and 3. And I would suspect that she wants to do things her own way now. It wasn't often, I'm having a hard time reading this morning, you guys. Focus. It wasn't often that you felt that you were doing something gigantic because she made it feel very intimate. I think this is really interesting. I think this is really fascinating. Not that this is, like a revolutionary kind of thing here, you guys, but I think we can expect to see some really interesting things come from this Matrix 4 movie. Like when Neil Patrick Harris talks about, like, well, we're just sitting around for hours waiting for the clouds to clear, and then they clear. It kind of reminds me of that moment in Thor Ragnarok when, Anthony Hopkins and, obviously Thor and Loki. Sorry, I'm looking at the live comments. Where Thor and Loki and their father, Anthony Hopkins, they're all kind of like standing there in the middle of that field in Norway, and like there's clouds overhead, and you have to kind of wait for the right lighting. It feels to me, especially with the previous comments that came back from October, there's kind of a new cinematic style happening. This is also very evocative to me of the new filming technique or style, maybe not technique, but the new style that the Eternals movie, that Marvel's The Eternals is going to be using a lot of natural light, not a lot of CGI'd green screens or blue screens to try and, plug in what types of shots and stuff that they need. I think this is, especially like with Eternals and now with Matrix 4, having big budget action movies done in kind of like a real way to have a very new cinematic feel to them. It makes me think of like a lot of the I don't want to say the big budget blockbuster films of like the 70s, because there weren't a lot of blockbuster types of films from the 70s, except for like Star Wars or maybe even Jaws. But this kind of makes me think that we're going to have like grounded stories where the stories need that kind of like realism that only like natural lighting can provide, especially if there's a new kind of cinematic way of capturing these moments, these real live, naturally lit kind of moments. I think this could be something really special, something really interesting that we haven't necessarily seen before. But, you know, like I said, what do you think of Neil Patrick Harris's comments about being on set and the use of natural light in a Matrix movie? It also kind of makes sense to me, being that with the revelation of the title of the film just being called Matrix, it's not being called Matrix 4 or, you know, Matrix Underworld or, you know, whatever it could have been. It's just going to be simply Matrix, kind of taking it back to the basics a little bit, maybe reinventing itself a little bit, taking it in a very different direction, and with a brand new look or cinematic feel to it, I think is going to help tell that story that she wants to tell. Anyway, like I said, guys, what do you think of all this? Jump on down to the comment section below and let me know those thoughts. All right, guys, our next bit of movie news today, you know, we've been talking a lot about, you know, Warner Brothers and DC films and all this stuff going on, and, you know, where they're going to go moving forward and how it's a bit of a mess. It's a bit of a mess. Like the Snyderverse kicked off, or rather, Man of Steel kicked off the official DCEU, the Detective Comics Extended Universe slate of films. You know, we also got Batman versus Superman. We got Wonder Woman, which is a fantastic movie. Suicide Squad was not so great. You know, we got Joss Whedon's Justice League, which really underperformed. That did not do very well. At least critically. Financially, yeah, kind of broke even. It didn't make a lot of money, but whatever. What else? You know, Shazam. I loved. Maybe my favorite film. I don't know. Wonder Woman ranks high too. Anyway, you know, Birds of Prey and Fantabulous Emancipation of One Harley Quinn. We got the Joker movie, even though that's not officially in the DCEU. Still kind of something that's what's going on. They're currently filming the Batman. So needless to, and they're also filming the Suicide Squad right now, which is kind of a sequel, but also not really. It's its own thing. They're all over the place right now, you guys. They're all over the place. So it stands to reason that we need a film within the DCEU to kind of push the reset button. That movie being The Flash. Now, one of the film's producers, Barbara Muschietti, who's married to the director Andy Muschietti, who also directed both of the most recent Stephen King's It movies, Chapter 1 and Chapter 2, which were fantastic. The second one, yeah, it suffered maybe a little bit, but I mean, great movies. Wonderful incarnations. Well, Andy Muschietti, the director, it appears they have started rolling cameras now, as his wife took to social media to post this particular photo, I believe on Instagram. So there he is. There's director Andy Muschietti. You can kind of see like in the reflection a little bit, right in here where there's, you know, Barbara Muschietti's phone and the clothes that she's wearing. There's like the reflection of you know, her in the glass, but you know, there's her husband, Andy Muschietti, right down, standing on the ground, right in front of one of the sound stages where they are currently filming, the Flash movie. It's I'm kind of heartened by this a little bit, but I also have a few thoughts. Like I have a few feels. There's something about, especially now that there's so much light being shed. I don't want to make a huge deal of this, but I kind of feel like I'm going to. There's a lot of light being shed on people in Hollywood doing gross things. I'm not going to call anyone out specifically, except for Ezra Miller. we know that not quite, but almost a year ago now, I think it was April of last year, Ezra Miller was in Iceland doing, I don't know why he was in Iceland, but he was. And there is video footage of him forcibly pushing a woman to the ground in kind of a not so respectful way. The video made the rounds on the internet and everybody was outraged for a hot second, and then it got buried. And Warner Brothers hasn't acknowledged it. Ezra Miller hasn't acknowledged it. Nobody's talked about it. And it makes me feel a little weird. I'll be honest. It makes me feel a little weird that Warner Brothers has decided to keep Ezra Miller in this role. Maybe they did their own investigative, I don't know, so whatever about it. And they decided, you know what, there's nothing here. It wasn't that big of a deal. Maybe it was a stage thing. Who knows? Who knows what actually went down? The problem here is that nobody's saying anything about it. If it was indeed nothing, I feel like we, the general public, need to know that. Because if we're going to support him in this movie, I really want to give him my support. If indeed he did nothing wrong, or if it was a stage thing. But it doesn't look staged. It looks real and genuine, and it looks like he actually, grabbed this woman by the neck and tried to do harm by throwing her to the ground and trying to get her to stop talking or whatever. And it's a little upsetting. So while on one hand, I really like that they're doing this Flash movie to try and, let's compare it to the X-Men universe, right? The X-Men movies were and still are all over the place. But when Days of Future Past came out, that was the movie to kind of push the reset button and say, okay, we're going to try and make sense out of all of this confusion. We're going to push the reset button and then have a linear story moving forward. And that is what the DCEU has in this movie. It's kind of been reported that they are following the events of Flashpoint Paradox in the comics, where Barry figures out that he can run so fast that he can break not just sound barriers, but time barriers, and he can go back in time. He can go to whatever time that he wants to, not just time, but reality that he wants to, kind of multiverse. Think of it in those terms, right? So in the comics, he goes back in time and saves his mom from being killed. And then when he comes back to his current time, come to find out, oh, guess what? You really messed a lot of things up. And present day is not the same as it used to be. So, then he has to go through, this reality and that reality and kind of reset all this stuff. So, of course, we know Michael Keaton's Batman is going to be in this. Of course, Ben Affleck's Batman is going to be in this. It's being reported that Danny DeVito might pop up as the Penguin at some point. Who knows if Brandon Routh's Superman is going to pop up? I mean, I wouldn't put it past him. The whole idea of this type of multiverse within this story could be really cool. It could be fantastic. And I'm kind of excited that they're doing it, because this is DC's opportunity to push the reset button, to make sense out of all of these crazy wackadoo movies that they've been making, and have one linear story moving forward. That is really going to help DC a lot. But like I said, I just feel weird with Ezra Miller still playing the Flash, still playing Barry Allen. He did a great job. He's a wonderful actor. He's a very charismatic actor. He's very easy to like. But I just have these weird mixed feelings, because especially there's all these documentaries coming out now about, previous people in Hollywood, a lot of people in Hollywood doing really gross things, and careers being put on hold. And hang on a second, let's rethink this a little bit. I don't know. I like that they're filming. I like that the story is being told. I like that the story is being told with Ezra Miller, but I also don't like that this story is being told with Ezra Miller for completely different reasons. I don't know what to make of it. I don't know what to think. Question is for you guys, what do you think about the new Flash film Oh, you're looking forward to it? Do you share my concerns? Do you think it's exciting that they're actually starting to roll cameras right now, as the producers and the directors, the Muschettis, have posted on Instagram? Do you find that exciting? Do you find it weird? Are you caught in the middle? Help me figure this out, you guys. Help me figure this out. What do you think? Jump on down to the comment section below and let me know your thoughts. All right, guys, our next bit of movie news today. There has been a lot of talk, a lot of discussion about Mortal Kombat. When is it coming out? We've kind of known when it's coming out for a while, especially being that Warner Brothers and HBO Max made that huge announcement saying, hey, we're putting 17 of our movies all on HBO Max and in theaters at the same time, right? It was a huge thing. It was a big deal. So there has been a lot of speculation. Well, if we know that the Mortal Kombat movie is going to be coming out in what is it, April? Oh man. Well, here, okay. So let me just preface it by saying this. Posters for Mortal Kombat have been released today. Yes, it is coming out in April. I did get that right. Woohoo! So if the movie is coming out in April, both on HBO Max and in theaters, why haven't we seen a trailer for it? Well, now we get our answer. I kind of think that this was Warner Brothers' decision to kind of say, like, let's wait until the last minute that we really have to start promoting this. If we're going to commit to this date, let's make sure. They've put a decent amount of money into this. Maybe not on the same scale of like an Avengers movie or any of the other DC movies, but they have invested they've made an investment in the movie, and so let's jump into this particular article from I think this is on MovieWeb. They have released a whole bunch of like motion posters. So here's a motion poster for Sub-Zero. Here's a motion poster for Kano. Here's a motion poster as I scroll down. There's Raiden. I think that's pretty cool, like with the lightning. I love how like they make their eyes light up a little bit. A motion poster for Liu Kang, and they just have a whole bunch of motion posters, right? Here's for Sonya, so on and so on and so on and so on, right? So the motion posters actually look really cool, and I think this is a really cool idea to do. Not specifically for Mortal Kombat, but it's just a really cool marketing device. You have motion posters, which is not the norm in terms of marketing, right? I think it's really cool. But I do want to jump over to Collider. Collider has a really good synopsis of the film here, where they say, from New Line Cinema comes the explosive new cinematic adventure Mortal Kombat, inspired by the blockbuster video game franchise, which most recently enjoyed the most successful video game launch in its history, Mortal Kombat 11. In Mortal Kombat, MMA fighter Cole Young, accustomed to taking a beating for money, is unaware of his heritage, or why Outworld's Emperor Shang Tsung has sent his best warrior, Sub-Zero, an otherworldly cryomancer, to hunt Cole down. Fearing for his family's safety, Cole goes in search of Sonya Blade at the direction of Jax, a special forces major who bears the same strange dragon marking Cole was born with. I wonder what that means. Soon he finds himself at the temple of Lord Raiden, an elder god and the protector of Earthrealm, who grants sanctuary to those who bear the mark. Here, Cole trains with experienced warriors Liu Kang, Kung Lao, and rogue mercenary Kano as he prepares to stand with Earth's greatest champions against the enemies of Outworld in a high-stakes battle for the universe. But will Cole be punished hard enough to unlock his arcana, the immense power from within his soul, in time to save not only his family, but to stop the Outworld once and for all. Anyway, yeah, so, I mean, we get a really good description there, of what the movie is going to be about. This is our first look into, like, what is the story going to be about? How is this going to go down? I've never been the biggest Mortal Kombat fan in the world. I remember when the first version of the game came out, you guys. That's how old I am. I remember when the first version of Mortal Kombat came out. It changed everything. It changed the way that people view video games. It wasn't just this, hey, like, people loved Mario because it was like a cultural thing. Like, Mario kind of became a part of the subculture and what we talked about and what we sought after. And it was an icon, right? Mario was an icon. Same thing with Sonic the Hedgehog. It was an icon. It had really fun gameplay. But Mortal Kombat changed. It changed how video games are made. It changed how video games are played. And it changed how we feel about video games, right? Because when you saw or when you played Mortal Kombat, you had one of two reactions. This is awesome, or this is disgusting. That was it. It was so polarizing. There were so many family petitions against this game. I know that when there was a whole thing, like, if you had Mortal Kombat on Sega, that's where you played Mortal Kombat, was on Sega, because that's where all the blood was. That's where all the disgusting graphics were. If you played Mortal Kombat on Nintendo, which is where I played it, I didn't understand what everybody was talking about. Like, okay, it was kind of a cool fighting game, I guess, but there was no skeletons, like, being ripped out. There wasn't any gory blood flying around. And that's because Nintendo censored the game. They wanted a more family-friendly approach to a fighting game. They didn't want it to be gratuitous or graphic. It was a complete game changer. And then when the movie came out, everybody lost their minds. And I will contend that Mortal Kombat, the soundtrack was epic. The soundtrack was incredible. The movie was garbage. And the sequel was even worse. Mortal Kombat Annihilation. Oh, that movie was terrible. So when I first heard that they were going to be doing a reboot, a remake of Mortal Kombat, the movie, I was like, I don't know. I don't know, you guys. But hey, based on like the description of like whatever, I'm not all that invested in the description. I'm not all that invested in Mortal Kombat. I definitely would like to see this movie in theaters. And I tell you this, I'll go even so far as to say this. The reboot of the Power Rangers movie, that was what, 2016, 2015, something like that. The one that stars Billy from Stranger Things. That's the sense that I get from this movie. Like the original Mortal Kombat was kind of just as bad as, in terms of production, in terms of like the story and whatever, as the original Power Rangers movies. I mean, let's be honest, those original Power Rangers movies, it doesn't matter if you like them or not. I'm not hating on them on what the movies are. I'm just saying they're not great. They weren't good movies. You can love them all you want, but they're not good movies. Which I think it's fair to say. And same thing with Mortal Kombat. You can love that movie all you want. It's not a good movie. It's so not a good movie. And I think people realize that. I think people understand that. So I kind of see this reboot of Mortal Kombat in the same way of what I've viewed the Power Rangers reboot to be. I think it's going to be grounded. I think the technical aspects of filmmaking, I think, are going to be fine. I think it'll look decent. I think it'll look okay. Who knows what the story is going to be like? Who knows how much characterization they're going to focus on? I guess, oh man, I haven't seen the Mortal Kombat movie in ages. It has been so long, so I don't quite remember if there is like, I don't think that there's like a battle royale in the movie. It kind of sounds like in this Mortal Kombat movie, like it's building up to be like this a big battle royale. I'm not entirely sure. Big question for you guys is, what do you think of this movie? Are you excited for it? Are you and we haven't even talked about the trailer, which is dropping tomorrow. These are just the motion posters announcing the trailer is coming tomorrow. So tomorrow we will have something more substantial to talk about with Mortal Kombat. We'll have an actual first look in the sense of how this movie feels and what it looks like and where it's going to go. But what do you think of the posters? Are you excited about the movie? Jump down to the comment section below and let me know those thoughts. All right, guys, our last bit of news today is not movie news. It is rather television news. It is an animated television series coming to HBO Max. You may have heard of it before, and that is Gremlins: Secrets of the Mogwai. Well, today it was just dropped, or rather yesterday, excuse me. The casting for the animated show has been announced, and I'm kind of stoked by some of these names. Amongst them are B.D. Wong, Matthew Rhys, and of course Ming-Na Wen from I know Ming-Na Wen from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but of course she's been in a whole bunch of other stuff. Wasn't Ming-Na Wen... Oh shoot, was she the original voice of Mulan in the animated Mulan? Was that Ming-Na Wen? Somebody fact check me on that. I think she was. I think she was. I could look it up. I'm not going to. Anyway. But yeah, B.D. Wong from the Jurassic Park franchise. Matthew Rhys. I've been watching a lot of The Americans. Kim and I have been watching The Americans right now. So he's kind of like on the... that's the show that I associate him with the most right now. And of course... Ming-Na Wen. Yeah, I mean, are the voice actors going to make or break this show? No. They're big names, popular names that people like and enjoy. So it's going to add a little bit of appeal. If you're familiar with their work and you like their work, it will add that appeal to the show. It's not going to make or break it. That would be the director. How the director directs the voice actors to do their jobs. That's really ultimately what's going to matter here. And can they get the vocal performances out of these actors that they need? They're talented people. They know what they're doing. They know how to do their jobs, and as well, the people working behind the screen, I guess behind the camera, proverbially. It's an animated show, so whatever. Yeah, I think this will be really cool. I'm a huge Gremlins fan. I haven't shown you guys. Man, I really should download this photo and show you guys. But in our living room, we have a Gremlins poster inside of oh shoot, Wong? Is his name Wong? Oh man. All right. So let's jump in here because there's another oh shoot, sorry, I should have had this ready for you guys. Sorry, hang on a second. Additionally, a new report from Variety sheds more light on the cast, revealing who these actors will be voicing in the animated series. Wang will play Wing with Wen, and Wong playing his parents Fong and Han Wing. Sam's mom is noticed as a Chinese doctor. Yeah, so oh man, I feel like my credibility is going down right now, you guys. I say I'm a big fan of of Gremlins, and I can't remember the name of the was it the Chinese guy who owns the shop in Chinatown. It's his shop, right? And so within the shop, I'm talking about my the poster that we have in our living room. There are so many different Easter eggs. I want to say for maybe like over 100 different movies. So like there's like a little bucket barrel in the corner of the store, and there's all these swords in it. And I think He-Man's sword is in there. Conan the Barbarian sword is in there. I want to say Gandalf's staff is in that little thing. There's like a little bird cage hanging from the ceiling, and Harry Potter's Hedwig, the owl, is inside of there. There's just so many different like Easter eggs. It's so cool. It's fun. It's lovely. It's a great Christmas movie, Gremlins. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this movie. Are you guys looking forward to this movie? I'm interested to hear what your thoughts and comments are. And do these actors, BD Wong, Ming-Na Wen, and Matthew Rhys, do they get you excited for the show? How excited are you for it? Jump on down to the comment section below and let me know your thoughts. All right, guys, we've reached that portion of the show where we're going to take your live comments and questions. Some of you have been firing in a few comments and questions all show long, so now we're going to go and take those now.
Alive! It's alive! It's alive!
Right, you guys, some of you have been firing in live questions all show long, so let's go ahead and address those now. Dominica May, who was my guest on the show yesterday. Dominica, how are you, my dear? Hope you're well, happy, and healthy. And Dominica says, wow, I didn't know the MPH was in it either, referring to Matrix 4. Yeah, same. Fun fact, when Matrix 4 was filming in San Francisco last year, one of my night tours had to detour away from our usual route because some of the roads were shut down for the shoot. Yeah, I mean, I love it whenever film productions are able to kind of like film in real locations. It really adds to the gravitas and to the breadth and the scope of what it is that they're doing and where they are and stuff like that. But the real world applications of when Avengers was filming in Cleveland, the entire city of Cleveland was shut down. I remember back when The Dark Knight Rises was being filmed in Newark, New Jersey. Of course, like my flight attendant job, sometimes I have to go to Newark Airport and fly out of Newark Airport. And boy, the 62 bus from Newark Airport to Newark Penn Station, that took forever because The Dark Knight Rises was shooting in downtown Newark. So it usually, with public transportation and this and that and the other, from door to door, it usually takes me about 2 hours to get home. That day, I think it took close to 3 or 3.5. Yeah, it just be like we had to take a detour and we were stopped here and whatever and blah, blah, blah and all that stuff. And it was a mess. It was a mess. So yeah, it's like I said, it's fun and exciting when you get to see like your hometown or like, oh, I know exactly where that place was filmed. It's really cool. It lends itself to some really magical storytelling where you can connect with the stuff on screen. But man, the practical application is that sometimes you can't get home. Dominica says, cool. I'd never seen motion posters before. I know, right? Yeah, referring to the Mortal Kombat motion posters. I've seen a few of them before, but it really looks like Mortal Kombat's marketing department is leaning into this idea. There's also motion comics. I'm a huge fan of motion comics. I love motion comics. There's an X-Men series. Is it the Astonishing X-Men? I believe it's called the Astonishing X-Men. It was written by Joss Whedon, so take that for what it is. But the motion comic of this story is it's beautiful, where it's all the original art, but they've manipulated it and animated it so that like when Beast is talking, his mouth isn't moving, but his arm is moving. Like if he's drinking something in the shot, it's beautiful. I love motion comics. It's fantastic. But yeah, those motion posters are actually really cool too. Dominica says, LOL, I played it on Nintendo 2, referring to Mortal Kombat, yeah. Like, here's the thing, if you grew up in the 90s, I was born in the early 80s. You know, you only remember so much about the 80s, but when you were born in the early part of that decade. But in the 90s, that's where I was raised. So the 90s was like my heyday. That was my playground. And Mortal Kombat was such a huge thing. Like, even though I've never been a huge video game player. Of course, I played video games growing up. Like, who didn't? Everybody did. But it was never part of my identity. It was just kind of something that I was like, yeah, sure, I'll play video games. That'll pass the time a little bit. And then I get frustrated and I turn it off for a month. And then I play it again for an hour. I get frustrated. I turn it off for a month. That's been my relationship with video games. But the graphics, because I remember at school, everybody was freaking out about how violent Mortal Kombat was. And from what I had played, it wasn't that graphic. I didn't understand what everybody was talking about. And then a friend showed me his... do you remember those portable Segas? He had like one of those handheld Sega game systems, which is like $5,000 or something. Not really, but... So yeah, he came to school and showed me the violence that was in the Sega version of Mortal Kombat, and I was just, what? Like when oh shoot, who was it? Was it Sub-Zero who like pulls some dude's spine out attached to his skull? It was crazy. That was crazy. Of course, I loved it. Dominica says, Ming-Na Wen. Cool. Yeah. Yes. Ming-Na Wen, being one of the voice actors in Gremlins. Like, who doesn't love Ming-Na Wen? She's really cool. She's really fun. And she's just been a working actor for a really long time now. Her work in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. kind of... She played the same tone over and over and over again. And so that was a little, okay, can we just take it back a little bit? Why don't you stop being so melancholy all the time? I think that was my problem with her character in that show. But speaking of which, Dominica says, yeah, there's a meme going now that says she was Mulan's voice. She was in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and... in The Mandalorian. Yeah, she's in a lot of stuff. In fact, that's what a lot of people are, like when they say Ming-Na Wen, The Mandalorian is like one of the first things that people go to right now. And yeah, she's one of the bounty hunters. Spoiler! It's not a big spoiler, whatever, who cares? But she's one of the bounty hunters kind of working with the Mandalorians, or... working with Boba Fett, I believe, if I recall that correctly. And our last comment of the day comes again from Dominica that says, that was my video game experience too. Yeah, right? Because like when you're only exposed to like mild violence in video games and everybody's talking about like how violent it was, I had this real thought of, have I just been so desensitized by these evil video games that I just don't get it? No. I was playing the censored version, and when I saw the non-censored version, like, what kid doesn't love that? Like, you wanna see everything. You want to be exposed to everything. And so it was definitely a coming of age moment for a lot of kids in the United States. A lot of kids in the United States. It was definitely that coming of age moment. Anyway, guys, so that will do it for our show today. We've got all of the movies. Thank you so much for sticking around and chit-chatting and be a part of the conversation, especially for Dominica. Thanks for watching and giving us a little bit more to talk about and kind of blow out this discussion a little bit. She says, oh, just in terms of playing a bunch and getting annoyed and stopping for a month or so. Oh, yeah. She says, that's how he's still playing now. That's why I don't like video games. VR is very different for me. So my former roommate, Josh, he has a VR system, and we used to play VR all the time. And VR is very, very different in terms of, like, playing a video game, because you don't feel like you're playing a video game. You feel like you're there in a world experience. It's less about gameplay and more about experiencing the world around you, right? That virtual world around you. And that's what I loved. That's why I watch movies. It takes me to a whole other place. But yeah, what you say about like, that's why I still don't play video games all that often. I'll play every night before I go to bed. Here, I'll show you. On my phone, I play a game called Exploding Kittens. If you've never played Exploding Kittens, it's such a fun game. It's so silly. It's so stupid. I love this game. I play it every night before I go to sleep. But it's just a card game. It's a card game. I like card games. I like puzzle games. I like that kind of stuff where you... what I really liked about... what can I think of it? Lara Croft Tomb Raider. One of the things that I loved about Lara Croft Tomb Raider is that it's a puzzle game. It's a puzzle game, right? So yeah, it's a video game, but especially was it Tomb Raider Go or Lara Croft Go on Apple TV? I really enjoyed that because it was all about like, okay, cool. You're at this stage or this level, and now here's a puzzle, and you have to move this here and move that there and move that out of the way so the boulder moves out of the way, or whatever. I love that kind of stuff. But if we're talking like Mario or I don't know, Contra or what did I really get frustrated with? Carmen Sandiego. There was a Carmen Sandiego video game on the NES, and I loved it. And I hated it because it frustrated me so much. I just couldn't figure out how to like what is it that you're asking of me? You're asking me to know knowledge about like a world that I live in that I don't understand. I remember there was this one level in Carmen Sandiego where it was all about art. I knew nothing about art. And it's not that you needed to know intrinsically who Edgar Degas was or, I don't know, Picasso or whatever. Like, I had heard of Picasso, so I always clicked Picasso because that's the person that I knew or understood, right? But rather, the answer was embedded in this text, and I did not have the patience to read this long text. Anyway, blah, 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 whatever. But yeah, video games have always frustrated me. Like, you die 1,000 times just trying to get to the next level, and I hate that. It frustrates me oh so much. Dominica says, I had only heard of Exploding Kittens as a card game, didn't know there was an app version, never played either. I have the card game version over in my closet, right over there. It's really funny when you open the box, it plays like this little mariachi music, and then you close it and then it stops playing. It's silly, but that's what the game is. It's really fun. But yeah, I play the app version on my phone every night before I go to bed. I just love it. It's easy, kind of like puts my mind at ease a little bit, you know. Anyway, guys, so that'll do it for our show today. Thanks so much for watching. Again, huge thanks to Dominica for sending in all of those beautiful comments, giving us something more extra to talk about, and just expanding the conversation a little bit. Like I said, this is a community. This is what we do. We sit around and we talk, we pontificate, we think of this, we think of that, and just share our experiences, and that's what we do. Anyway, guys, again, thanks so much for watching. If you like this video, click like. If you really like this video, click subscribe. And if you really, really like this video, click share. Because that is exactly what Exploding Kittens would want you to do. Oh, look at this. This is like a new version of I'm going to have to look at this later. Anyway, guys, we live in a weird, crazy world where everybody has their own thoughts and opinions, and sometimes those thoughts and opinions clash. So if you have an opportunity to infuse a little bit of kindness into the world or speak kind words to each other, please, I implore you, take those opportunities. As always, in the words of Bill and Ted, be excellent to each other. I'll see you guys tomorrow.